Doctor Who, Series 13, Flux, Episode 1, The Halloween Apocalypse. So, apparently
there is such a thing as a species of Wookiees here, only they're called the Lupa, or Lupinari or something. Lupari?
Oh, I thought they're called loofah. Like, the loofah sponges.
Although, I mean, even Jack's like, oh my god, it's Chewbacca!
I said that too.
Like a grave getting rescued by a furry.
Although, I'm surprised he didn't say that. Are you a furry? Because, that fur is really realistic.
Well, I think Doctor Who was probably trying to keep that age rating down.
Not. Jack knows what a furry is.
Yeah,
Furries
but
are
the people in suits would be...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
First,
they're not going to make that joke, but... Did he make a son of a bee?
yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't talk about
It's
my
like,
mother.
don't talk about my mother. What?
When are you going to work on his Halloween, not his Halloween costume, his Doctor Who costume?
Which one?
Dalek!
Oh. We got it.
To get the Dalek.
I gotta go to work today, apparently.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously?
No, Remusly.
Your usual time?
A little later.
Wow.
So, yeah. Was I the only one greatly confused by that entire episode? There was way
too much going on.
Yeah, there were way too many moving parts for the concept of that episode.
Was the Doctor Who?
Yeah.
I get what they're going to do. They have all these, things going on, but then, through the other episodes, they're going to, explain it better.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to review this until we get to episode 6 and kind of have the things resolved.
That's what happened.
Yeah. We're probably going to, review these, episodes, and, at the very end of it, we'll do, one big...
Well, episode 6 will kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because that'll be part of episode 6. We'll be wrapping up all of the what the heck is going on thing.
Pretty much.
The show of an episode of a series story.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the what? I mean, I did see episode 2. I still haven't seen what the hell happened with that weird couple in the UFO in their garage.
Yeah, but I specifically didn't watch episode 2, so I wouldn't get them confused.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was already confused with episode 1, so.
Yeah, well, I just thought I wouldn't confuse them with each other. One thing that we were kind of shown in this was that,
mine, I bought it.
No, I bought my one.
Anyways, what was that?
I was one of the things that we kind of figure out, it's heavily implied with dialogue, is that there has been a significant time jump between the last episode we saw them in and this one, all the things that she's learned with the Doctor.
All the places they've gone. There's hey, they had a season 6B. Why not have a season 13B? No, 13A, technically.
Yeah, it's definitely setting it up if they want to do some audios later on.
Yeah.
With them. It's definitely...
On one hand, I do appreciate that because I do love it when they set up ideas. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Sarah, you were right. This one's mine.
So, I have a random question. It has been a while since I've seen the last season. Did the other two part ways from them?
Yes.
Okay.
They Ryan wanted to stay on Earth because he wanted to catch up with his Earth friends, and Graham is like, I'm gonna stay with my grandson. We gotta, we're just becoming family again after his grandma died, and I want to, I'm just getting over Grace's death rather than running away from it like I've been doing for the past 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and the actors probably were like, "This is a sinking ship. Let's move on."
Yeah,
But-
but
Yeah.
Grandma's like my favorite character, though.
Oh yeah, Graham was nice,
Graham
but
was everybody's favorite character, except for the Dazzies,
Yeah, of course.
Dr. Yez shippers, because Lizzie's.
but
Is Missy still in, or did they get
No,
a
they have a new master.
Yeah, which I hope he. I hope
did
he
like
shows up. I like him.
Is
I mean, he's no Missy.
Oh. What did he try-
Sasha. Yeah, but his name is Sasha Dwarma, something like that.
I mean, he's no Missy, but I still like him.
I know, right? I like that. That
I thought you didn't like
Jack-
the female doctor as much as the other guy.
I don't, but I do like the master, the current master.
Oh.
not as much as Missy, perhaps, but
Yeah.
still.
How
How
Missy's
can you like
perfect.
anybody? Missy?
Yeah,
I mean, Ainley is my master always, but even now, Missy beats him. So.
Yeah, I want to see the master in this one, and I want to see Jack Harkness at least one more time.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
Oh,
Jack Harkness burned his bridges. John Barrowman burned his bridges with a controversy of sexual harassment at
Ooh.
convention stuff.
ouch.
So he is not going to be in any more Doctor Who. BBC has washed their hands of him.
What?
Damn it.
That's good.
Jack Harkness was a good character, but John Barrowman was a little too much like Jack Harkness in real life.
Okay.
What is with all these actors that I like turning out to be
right?
bad people?
I know. I'm like, what the hell?
God damn it.
These people are like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I think what we're
I
gonna get.
mean, go ahead.
I think what we're gonna get
did
with
you
this
need
is
more?
it's gonna be, let's bring back all the things from Chibnall's run, however short it is, and sort of try and create a
Make them good.
well, try and incorporate them into the final thing.
The way with
Ki-
Rusty's last stand.
Yeah, at the end of 10, they kind of brought it. It's like, oh, wrapped everything up nice.
Yeah,
and
that's what
tight.
I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Rusty D.
Okay.
That's his nickname.
Okay. I always
No,
Rusty D.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rusty D. Russell T. Davies.
Yeah.
Russ TD. So he's Rusty.
STD. Almost sounds like STD.
It does. And Barrowman probably has some.
But moving on from speculation on that.
Allegedly.
Yeah, speculation.
Make me some hot water. I want some hot chocolate.
But
It's my
anyway,
heater.
Give a crap. I'll fill it up.
Oh,
the only thing about the new guy, names are just today.
Dan.
Dan. Okay. Yeah, I guess it may be just that he's got that thicker Liverpudlian accent. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know British accents, so Usually, I like it, and Liverpudlian falls into the north category. He's from the north, but it's a different type of north, and he's hard to understand
Multiply.
sometimes.
Yeah. Plus, it's not just the accent; it's the syntax and the dialogue. Like they have they use phrases that don't normally come up. You know.
And so, yeah, he can be hard to understand sometimes, which is funny because usually a lot of I don't know. There's certain accents in the north, like I can still understand, or at least when a northerner is trying to be understood, like
Yeah.
you can
Well,
still understand them. But
the reason why is because they do initially start with the same base language, because transportation back when those languages were being created, those accents were being created, was abysmal. So most of the towns and villages were very isolated, so their accents evolved separately. And therefore, all of the accents are very distinct in the farther north you go, because it took longer for civilization to reach them, because, the big cities grew further south, like London and stuff, and slowly made their way north. So the north were, peasants longer. So their accents.
It's
Belay-
industry is
belay
in the
that.
north, so they weren't, like you had London, which is basically it's Washington D.C., New York, and L.A. all at once. In London, it's just sort of the
Yeah.
UK's all of that is in one place, and so
Yeah. But
it depends on the. Most accents I can understand, but occasionally you will run across an accent that's more out in the rural areas that's a little harder to understand, or is either in the north or in a rural area that's a little harder to understand.
Yeah.
I guess I don't listen to a lot of people from Liverpool, so I don't have a good ear for that accent. If I listen to it a lot, I might be able to understand it.
What am I saying? I do know they're from Liverpool, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they're trying to spread it out and bring more accents into Doctor Who. It's like,
Well, they saw how popular, how well received the Scottish accent was.
yeah.
So they're trying to recreate that with other accents within the country so that they have more diversity.
Yeah, well, they can also figure out what they can use, and people will still accept it. Get it so that they have a bigger base to draw from. So that it's like, oh, this guy's got an accent, we can't use him. It's like, no, it's fine, you can use him.
Yeah, because
And
David Tennant was forced to use a generic accent instead of his own because of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Eccleston was from the north, and he had sort of a northern accent, and so that was accepted. Tennant dropped his Scottish accent and went with his more received pronunciation. 11 Smith, I think he was just Smith. He was just he was already on received pronunciation when he started.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he's from initially, but I would imagine it's probably not far from London. Because he's got a natural, easily understood, received pronunciation accent. And then we got Capaldi and the Scottish accent, and he got to hold on to it, and that was well received, or at least nobody made a big deal about it. And then 13,
and then who everybody's like, I love Missy. I think Missy said that herself at one point. And so, like, oh, these other accents, they're being received really well. Let's keep that up.
Yeah. I think if he enunciated a little more, it's just maybe the way Liverpool sounds. Is it? I just don't have an ear for it, or he particularly tends to mumble or something. But
also, I think they were trying to go with the down and out type character.
Yeah, he was definitely
You know,
that. They were.
so he's lower class, and so his accent isn't as refined. Even within cities, any city, even in America, you'll notice that accents differentiate through economic channels as well. Like people with higher, with more money and live in the nicer part of town usually have a more generic accent than those who live in the poorer parts of town.
Yeah.
Or who have lower income.
Yeah, they have more access and more time to watch media that's outside of their area, and so they might pick up an accent or lose some of their accent listening to that.
Exactly. So because of that, I think part of his accent is to kind of rub into it the fact that, hey, he's a poor boy from a poor family.
Spare him his life from this monstrosity. That's actually that actually works really well with Doctor Who.
Especially Dan, whose house was shrunk, and not by the master.
Yeah. And yeah, it's
couple of things I want to say about this episode. One is it's nice to see Christmas getting a break and actually have a different holiday where stuff goes wrong.
Yeah. And you would think Halloween, a bunch of shit goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Because historically, most cultures all have that as the same timeline for their dead holiday. Like, according to mythology, in various mythologies, that time of the year, and specifically the 1st of November, 31st of October, is the point where the barrier between life and death is at its smallest.
Yeah. And
that's why people are more likely to have ghostly experiences then.
And second, I know their lives were like danger and everything, but I started laughing at the beginning because it's just all too much. Like, you're gonna fall in acid, the planet's gonna blow up, these things are gonna shoot you, sprinkles are gonna come out of my ass.
I was going to say, the last thing we needed was going to be James Bond popping up and like, just another Tuesday.
It's like just so much going on.
I know, this entire story, so too much going on. It is just so busy. It makes the story almost unwatchable.
Maybe give them a benefit of the doubt in that they're just they're throwing a bunch of threads open at the front, and then he's going to spend they're going to spend the next 5 episodes working them out and tying them up and making them make sense.
And also,
hopefully,
yeah.
That lady who got taken by the Weeping Angel, I don't really feel sorry for her. It's like you can't unlock a door, and you had the door unlocked. You could have just booked it in there, closed it, and then blinked.
I know.
Like, you deserve that.
Oh, from her tone and everything, because honestly, there was nothing on her in the second episode either. She sounded like she knew it was gonna happen.
So confusing.
Which, I mean,
it is. That's what I said. This entire episode is like a clusterfuck. I'm just like, what the what?
Yeah, it kind of
I mean,
It was a lot to start off with. They threw out a lot of questions at the beginning of this series. Like, okay, what's this? What's that? Who's that? What's this? Who's that? Why is that happening? And
You see, the thing with, like, one of the things I did appreciate about Rusty D and Chibnall, not Chibnall, and Moffat, don't even Moffat and Chibnall in the same, confuse them. But no, the thing about both of them was they knew how to build a story arc. They both knew how to build a story without throwing up everything at once and hoping something sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be little hints of it here and hints of it there. Oh, bad wolf.
Like,
What's that?
Look at the whole first appearance of the Master thing. That went on an entire freaking season. The whole Bad Wolf thing, an entire freaking season, building up to one story. But he had all those different stories tied together via a common thread that he didn't need to, like, blast in your face and throw everything out at once.
Yeah. Now,
same with Moffat and the crack in the wall and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, he teased at it and he built it up, but he didn't go and just, like, bury you in shit in one episode so you're confused as hell and just like, oh, it must be good because I don't know what the hell's going on.
And they ran out of time for this episode, or they would have also thrown in the Cybermen and the Daleks.
We did get the Sontarans.
We do get the Sontarans.
But they're not the weird. The Sontarans look more like the classic Sontarans than they do the more modern, like potato-looking Sontarans.
Yeah.
Like, I knew they were Sontarans, but I barely recognized them.
And they changed the Weeping Angel character, too. Like, they changed their appearance later on, apparently. Because I've seen the promo photos.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like...
Which, I mean, not a big deal to me. But...
as long as they don't get too weird with it.
At least they didn't do what Discovery did with the Klingons.
Yeah, I don't mind them going back to the because at least it's a form that's existed. Like the Sontarans we saw, the sort of almost gray, sort of ashen Sontarans. We've seen that before. Classic Who had those as the Sontarans. But it's like, why did you bother bringing them back? You have really nice potato Sontarans that actually look great. Not that these look bad, but why would you go backwards on that?
It was too hard to find the short people to fill the suits.
But yeah, you.
Also, I'm gonna be honest. The little the little Sontarans were not that imposing. They were more comedic. How did they get in? In through the window. I still think that every time I hear the word intruder.
How did he get in here? In through the window?
Every time. Intruder alert. How did they get in? In through the window. Although we did get to no, never mind. I almost did a spoiler for next episode.
So two things. One, they really need to stop moving around the guy's tiny house, because when it gets big again, that's gonna be a lot of cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and also, this is just a joke, but it's like you listen really carefully, and you hear like a faint meow.
Oh,
like meow, meow. Stop shaking it.
Yeah, but since you can't see it, and you can't hear it, Schrodinger's law applies.
No,
Don't
see,
know, but you
I hate Schrodinger's law, okay, because it does not work. Because tell me what cat isn't going to start meowing after you lock it in a box for a while?
right?
Well, it's less a law, more of an explanation of it's a. But yeah, I mean, it's assumed that no, you can't sense anything in the box. You have no way of knowing if the cat's alive. It's sort of stipulated to that. Like, yeah.
Oh, so let's play a magical game. Well, okay, Doc already knows how because they saw the second episode, but I guess just for me and Dex, how is the Doctor going to escape this thing? Because she is, and didn't die later on at the end of the series because the whole new Doctor, whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna get a regeneration at the end of this.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, we had the dogs who had some weird species link with humans for some reason.
Well, they are my best friend.
Yes,
Unless you're,
but yeah, we
unless
don't
you're
know.
normal and for cats.
Yeah, we just don't know why they have that link, but they do. And it's really weird that they think, okay, so this thing rips apart planets. It eliminates the laws of physics anywhere it touches. It's coming for Earth, and your solution is to throw more matter in its way.
maybe
Yeah.
they're made of antimatter.
Like, it rips apart matter like it's nothing. But a few ships surrounding the Earth, that's what's going to do it.
They watched Guardians of the Galaxy a few too many times.
It's just like,
Because tell me that is not a ripoff of what they did on the planet at the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
but
Pretty much.
yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And then we have this, and I hope Davies, one of the first things he does is like, okay, all the stuff Chibnall did to the Doctor's timeline, chunk. Yeah, or that was all the Master messing with the Doctor, chunk. I think that's what they're setting up with the, like, I know you, Doctor. They must have done a great job of erasing your memory. And it's like, oh, you're doing the Doctor has more lives than we've known. It's like,
Yeah, they're
No.
doing the time thing again.
yeah. And I just like, no. What I hope like Davies is sort of like, no, the whole thing was a master ploy. And while the Doctor does have additional lives we didn't know about before, they all come in between the second Doctor and Spearhead in space. Like,
Yeah.
they come in between there. What happened was the Time Lords sent the Doctor on various things and gave him some extra generations to pad it out. And when he was done, they erased his memory and sent him on of everything that happened after his second face, and like sent him on and made him think he had his third face and set all his regenerations to the proper number so that he could just regenerate on and be normal and not know anything about what was going on. And then that way the Doctor, and then the whole timeless child thing, no, that was the Master messing with the Doctor. Or it was the Time Lords using the Master to mess with the Doctor, but it backfired on them because the Master messed with them or something, or that whole thing was an illusion or something. I don't know, but like, there are ways you could rip what Chibnall did back out of canon, but yeah, it's like, just rip the timeless child back out of canon. Now, if you wanted to do, say you wanted to do a big event where
This is not a Chibnall thing, because they were thinking of doing something similar back in the 90s.
but they were thinking about it, but Chibnall actually did it.
Yeah, they actually, I think, did it in the books, but the series was canceled at the time.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do it on screen because after Survival, it was canceled.
Yeah.
But it's slightly different, though. What they were going to do is, because you know what looming is, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the idea of a loom is.
So what it was the Doctor is a reincarnation of the Other, who is the third in the triad with
Rassilon and Omega.
Yeah. And actually, he was that whole Patience thing. Patience was the Other's wife, and then became the Doctor's tutor, recognized the Other, and that's why they had a thing going.
But yeah, I was thinking if you want, see, this is the thing. Every time the Doctor starts to run out of regenerations, like, that's actually a point where you can have an interesting story about the Doctor getting close. Now, you know that you're gonna figure it out, but
Yeah.
you can have an interesting story about how they got there. Or you can have a story where you remove that limiter, like, not because, like, say the Master is working on giving himself infinite regenerations, and he's gathered these special ingredients to remove the limiter on regenerations for himself or herself, and, like, the Doctor, instead, to prevent the Master from getting it, takes it, jumps in front of the science beam that would make him have infinite regenerations, and takes the blast themselves, and they are now
Science beam just makes me think space lasers.
But yeah, that sort of idea where the Doctor is not trying selfishly to get more regenerations, but just, like, is doing it to prevent the Master from getting more regenerations, and ends up, like, using up all the MacGuffin that was going to let the Master have infinite regenerations, and now the Doctor has infinite regenerations, and now you have that solved. But I don't see why you would bother with that.
Or real solution, the regeneration cap was created by the Time Lords. Now that the Time Lords are out of the picture, or were out of the picture, that cap was gone. Because it was more of a
it was more imposed than a natural limitation.
Exactly. It was kind of the Soylent Green thing.
They could regenerate infinitely, but they imposed the cap. So if something happened to the Doctor where that cap was turned off, they're like, yeah, okay, Doctor, for right now, we're going to just, or the Time Lords themselves, like, we need you to do something. So we're going to take off the regeneration limiter just in case, because we need you to do this. So we're just going to take the regeneration limiter off of you completely. And then we're just never going to bother putting it back on, because the Doctor usually saves our butts from our own idiocy, from our own arrogance. So it probably isn't a bad idea to just have the Doctor around. Like the Master, yes. Doctor, not so much. Though if it was a cap they could reinstate, you'd think they could just reinstate that on the Master and say, oh, nope, this is your last regeneration.
Because they did at one point give the Master more regenerations.
Yeah, but I guess you'd have to do something to take away those regenerations from them.
Yeah, but I mean, so it is an inhibitor that the Time Lords put in place, because if they weren't able to control the regenerations, unless it's something like Jupiter Rising, where they just steal the souls of other people, and that's where you get the regenerations. And that's why they so many times have looked like other people that seem familiar.
Yeah, we don't know exactly. But yeah, there's ways of taking the cap off the Doctor. There's ways of doing it that make sense. Either the Time Lords need the Doctor for something, or
Imagine that.
Or he stops the Master from getting it.
imagine how traumatizing that would be for the doctor.
Yeah,
Like realizing that all those times she's died or he's died, somebody else died in their place.
yeah, that would be. Yeah.
I'm sure that would also make the doctor very more cautious about not dying.
Yeah, there's no telling, but yeah.
Well, okay, maybe like since we found out that the Doctor isn't exactly a Time Lord like the rest of them, maybe they do, like the rest of them, do have a limit on how many times they can regenerate because they don't have like enough energy or something. But they did put like a limiter on the Doctor because it's like you only get 12 or however many it is, just like the rest of us.
That would be that would be taking Timeless Child as canon and trying to retcon the whole 11's whole journey.
I mean,
We're talking
did.
about changing what Chibnall did and removing that whole Timeless Child episode from the canon altogether and saying, no, the Doctor's a normal Time Lord. That's kind of the whole business about the Doctor. The Doctor isn't in terms of Time Lords, the Doctor isn't that special. Doctor isn't that clever. There are cleverer Time Lords. There are Time Lords that are better in ways, but
the Doctor almost failed out of school multiple times.
Yeah, he's the reason he's the Doctor. The reason that they are the Doctor, whoever it is, it's not because of them being like they're compared to humans off the charts, but because of the Doctor, what the Doctor excels in is in compassion. That's the Doctor's superpower is compassion, and he's clever. The Doctor's clever and has all these special things the Time Lords have, but he's not a special Time Lord. He's sort of actually quite mediocre, but he's got compassion, which is more than a lot of Time Lords have. And the fact that he's been able to hold on to his compassion despite living like 2,000 years at this point is a big thing.
And almost a sense of childlike wonderment still.
Yeah, he's still,
which is good.
Still in love with the universe. Still in love with seeing things and experiencing things and seeing new people. And curiosity and compassion are, that's sort of the Doctor's bag. It's their thing. I'm an idiot with a box and a screwdriver, passing through, helping out, learning.
Now I kind of want to Photoshop the Doctor with Fluttershy's cutie mark as a badge, like on their lapel.
But yeah, that's one of the things I really liked about. I did like about 12's like speech at the graveyard with Missy is like, because I'm not, because I'm not a good man. I'm not a bad man. I'm not an officer, and I'm not a president. I am an idiot with a box and a screwdriver, passing through, helping out, learning. It's like that sort of encapsulates the Doctor.
And like, he could always try to be nice, never fail to be kind.
Yeah.
Laugh, love,
and never eat pears.
Himself to be true to who he is and be kind.
Yeah, and most of all, be kind, Doctor. I let you go. But yeah, I mean, Capaldi had some great.
A lot of people did write that too.
Capaldi had some great speeches about sort of, this is the Doctor. This is sort of laying out basically what the Doctor is. And he spent a lot of time in Capaldi, sort of diving into who the Doctor is. And,
Yeah, because he did lose himself for a while.
Yeah.
There was the oncoming storm with 10, who 11 tried to counter that by being a complete bumbling idiot who just like.
But still slipped
run away
into
from everything.
the whole Demons Run thing. Good man goes to war. It's like, yeah.
And he's like trying to run away from who he is because he realized what disaster he can do because of, I'm pretty sure it's because of Davros at the end of that one episode where like Davros is like, you don't need weapons, Doctor, because you make them.
Yes.
All of your companions become your weapons. You corrupt as assuredly as any Dalek. And that just really hit him hard. So when he regenerated, that's what he became, like the opposite of that. He became I don't want to be like that. I don't want to corrupt anyone. I don't want to destroy. I want to create. I want to make the world better as the only way I can, which is to be a silly goof and try to make people happy.
Yeah.
He became a Robin Williams,
But,
And, but realizing when he regenerated, realizing by the end, that's not who he really is. That doesn't really help anybody. When he regenerated, he became Capaldi, who spends his entire run trying to figure out who he really is, trying to figure out who he is and what he is and like find himself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because he was...
They destroy that with the Timeless Child.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, and they just sort of throw that all out. Toodles kind of throws it out at that. But, yeah, I mean, if you step back and think about what the Doctor was doing from the end of 7's run, or was it 8's run? Or 7, and then 8. I don't know what. I haven't watched the movie, so I don't know.
I did watch them multiple times, and I can never remember.
Yeah.
Because
so I mean, at least from War on, okay, you had the Doctor was fairly normal. The Doctor was doing fairly normal Doctor things.
What?
Your rattling is right in front of this mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Doctor was doing fairly normal things up until 8, and then we get to War Doctor, and he's as far as he was concerned for a long time, he destroyed his whole civilization. I killed all of them. You killed one Time Lord, I killed all of them, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so that set him off kilter. And then 9 was he was post-traumatic stress and just trying to not go crazy from what he did during the war. And then 10 was better, but he was still like, he was regretful, and it led him down a path of, okay, I'm the last Time Lord. Time's mine. I can do what I want. And we got Time Lord victorious. And then that didn't go so well. And then 11, we got the man who forgets, and he tried to just run away from it. And then by the end of 11, he knows what happened during the war, and he knows what he actually chose to do. But then again, he still did a bunch of, like, the Zygon inversion speech. We know he still did some shady stuff, but he didn't wipe out his own people. but he still had
Yeah.
he was running away from it. 12, he finally starts to deal with it in a healthier way, but in a healthier way, not necessarily the healthiest way, but healthier. He sort of has to take on board everything that's happened and find his center again after all that stuff happened. And the Time War is finally starting to sort of come out of him. It's starting to. He had a lot of time as 11 on that planet to think and to deal with the problem. And by 12, he's processing it, and by 13, he's completely sort of that Time War stuff is finally sort of poured out of the character. He's
moved on.
Yeah, it's still something he knows he did. He has to deal with it, and it's not going to go away forever. Like, it might pop up every now and again, but for now, the Doctor has left the Time War behind, and is moving on and being more like, well, not like the classic Doctor, because that would require better writing, but more like them in that they're not haunted by anything. The Doctor isn't haunted by the Time War or any of that. They're not jutting back and forth personality wise trying to deal with things. It's all sort of been thought through, resolved.
And so almost like a clean slate there, and almost regain that childlike innocence, because yes, she still knows what she did, and she did some pretty shady shit, but at the same time, she's worked through her demons and she's at a place of neutrality and where she can regain some of that innocence. And I think personally, I know I'm giving Chibnall way too much credit on this, but personally, I think from a character's perspective, the reason why she isn't so authoritarian and so like overly powerful, and probably why she ended up as a woman, because it's kind of to show she's past past that aggression and the trauma and all of that, and not over it. She is trying to find some new normal and get a fresh start.
Yeah, she's gone back to being like she was, like, from the Time War perspective. The Time War is now resolved in terms of the character.
And so I think the reason why she's not so aggressive and authoritative is because she, I think, doesn't want to be that person anymore. Like, she associates that with the Time War because she associates that with the trauma from the Time War and how it made him before. And so she's trying to be free. And that's why different gender, different, softer personality.
And it may end up
Although I know I'm giving Chibnall too much credit with the writing on that, but from a characteristic perspective, it does make sense.
Yeah, which may end up being that without the authority bit to it, that she's still off kilter a little bit, but is in the last little switch. And
no,
the next,
not just that, but think of the whole having a life goal and finally reaching that, like finally reaching the top of your mountain and finally coming out the other down the other side, and you don't know what to do next.
Yeah,
like she's off kilter because, okay, I spent so long with these demons. What am I doing without them?
Yeah, and it's the last. This is the last little twitch of that hanging around, and once, I'm guessing, what I'm going to guess is RTD is going to be a return to probably you may even try and go back to more of a classic doctor, like a doctor who's not haunted at that point, who
Yeah.
still has these things and knows about them, but isn't
Honestly,
haunted by it.
and honestly, she does have. I mean, not all of the doctors were very authoritative. Like they didn't really ooze a sense of authority. My favorite doctor, Troughton, did not ooze authority. He was very much the silly, wacky uncle who ended up getting into trouble with you and just like, oh my Gideon, what are we gonna do? Let's just wing it. You know?
But
he didn't have much of a command presence.
But yeah, we may get another. We don't know what the next Doctor's going to be like. Man, woman, what are they going to be like?
Dog.
We have no idea.
It's the dog turn. Damn it! Now I have to draw that.
It's like I'm the Wooster.
But,
no, the dog tur.
I
And
could have two heads. I could have no heads. Imagine me, no head.
and then the TARDIS, it becomes shaped like a blue fire hydrant.
No, it's shaped like Snoopy's house.
There we go, Snoopy's house.
Snoopy is the Doctor.
Oh, I could draw Snoopy as the Doctor. Oh, we just watched. We watched Clifford yesterday because Jack really wanted to go for his belated birthday, and so I'm like, okay. I wasn't feeling too badly, although by the end of it, my head was like throbbing because of all the noise. But they had a character in there played by John Cleese. I swear was the freaking Doctor, or at least a Time Lord. Had special magical abilities that made the dog grow big, although technically he said it was the girl's love, but he had all these weird special animals, and his tent was bigger on the inside, and it's like and the uncle says it's bigger on the inside, and Cleese's character said, no, it's just smaller on the outside.
Yeah, but the other thing about Snoopy is that he also, like, Snoopy in canon, like, he pulls things out of there that have no business fitting in there. Like, his doghouse is seemingly bigger on the inside from what I remember. It's been a long time since I've seen anything with Snoopy, but I think that was generally a thing, that, like, his doghouse was always, it was a bit like Oscar's trash can. Like, it was much bigger on the inside than you realized.
So there's I've been wondering about the Doctor. Like, so I know, Time Lords have two hearts. So my question is, like, do both hearts only work at like 50%, have like enough blood flow like a normal heart, or
no, they seem to both be going because when he only had one running, it's like when the Doctor was hitting his chest, I forget it was 11 or 10. It's like, how do you people live like this?
So in that case, since he has,
why he runs so much.
So yeah, okay, that's what I was wondering. So doctors do have a lot more energy because they have like a lot more blood flow.
Yeah, although I always theorized that that Time Lords don't have just a binary vascular system. Like, they have two of other part of their anatomy. Like, and considering I read somewhere that they don't have a prostate, it does make sense. Like, one for procreation and one for urination, and then the urination one has a narrower, a weaker urethra that, as it engorges, that they both engorge, and one just, the urination one shrinks off, so you can't pee while you engage.
Lovely.
Okay. I think we've long since abandoned the Halloween apocalypse.
Yeah. I long since abandoned it while I was watching it. Yeah. Honestly,
it was what it was.
Guy, the story is like, what the hell? Like, tell me that dude that brought on the flux like, does he seem familiar? He kind of reminds me of the.
Yes.
He looks kind of like the Red Skull.
No. I thought he looked familiar too. For a second, I thought he was that guy.
Tim Shaw.
No, that we saw in like the first episode of the first run of Whitaker.
Yeah, that was
Tim
Shaw.
Shaw.
Oh, Tim Shaw. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it looks a little. Yeah, at first, when we didn't hit a lot of light on him, but that was the other thing
that's
I wanted.
what I did first think, or that one with where we get the weird the weird dancing togas that we're talking. The timeless child.
Oh yeah.
And then they had that one thing where all the planets were in cubes. I don't know. This whole run kind of like blurs in my mind. I'll be honest.
Yeah. And the other thing there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. It's like the TARDIS is obviously sick.
Yeah. Is
Which
that
is a
blood
thing.
or is it sprung an oil leak or what?
I think it's just that since it's a like
The
something
symbiote
about
gets
the
rid-
universe getting sick, like the flux is causing problems with the TARDIS.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this: that one dude had no flux given.
Which does mean that at the end of this, I am going to say that for RTD's, next run, that when they get a new doctor, there will probably be a new set. Like,
Yeah,
I can almost guarantee with the way they're treating 13 TARDIS desktop, they're going to have a new set for.
that's okay. I didn't really
the
current layout anyways. I am a classicist. I like the classic Who, so I'll be honest. I didn't like 9 and 10's run that much either, because I like the strong white like lines and like I love the circles. Don't know what they do, but
the
I love
round
the
things.
The
They're
round
maintenance
things.
access points or something like that, I think. But
Well, yeah, and that's also where they hide the booze. Remember, that's where River got it.
yeah, I mean that is also a thing at the end of this, that when they do regenerate Whitaker into the next Doctor,
But
like
unfortunately, I have a feeling that when Rusty gets a hold, he's going to give them more of a like 9-10 feel again. Like, I'm afraid he's going to do more of the crystalline thing. And I get you're trying to show that it's alive, but dude, no, it looked disgusting. I'm sorry. I love the TARDIS. I don't like that TARDIS layout. I don't like 9-10 and
this
13
grunge
layout.
phase.
Yeah, it's just so wrong.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see, with
Season 1, I think it was season 112. Like the first few seasons of 12. That nice pristine white with like the Gallifreyan symbols on the top, and the dual layer was really nice. But just
yeah, I mean, it does give you the option. He does have all options on the table, and if he wants to, and what might be a bit of way of sort of, I don't know, way to announce the fans that Doctor Who is back, is to go back to a classic Who style.
please
TARDIS.
do. Hope so.
Now, I'm going to say that it'll probably be more complicated than just a
Little
simple
button.
white room. Like, there might be multiple layers. There might be.
Yeah,
I
liked the I liked the stairs and the little library on top and
it'll
that
be more
sort of thing.
complicated.
I don't like the yellow. I don't like the yellow. It looks like you're watching it through a piss lens.
But yeah, especially, and I think with as sort of crystalline and dark and dreary as, because 9 and 10s was grungy. Then
It was.
then 11 got his new one, and he went. It was more bright and warm. It was still weird and wacky, but it was a little brighter and it was cleaner.
I was pretty good with 10. I mean, 11's new.
Yeah, and then we got the second one that 11 had, which the one that 11 had, which 12 used as well, which was more dark and steel and whatnot. And then 13 got the crystals, but it was still kind of dark, and I think it would do well for. I think you need to go brighter and cleaner. I think that's what they'll probably go with, because they've kind of gone 9 and 10 grungy, sort of bright but grungy. 11 clean and bright. Second one of 11 was clean but dark, and then 13 kept the dark but made it more, or kept the sort of darkly colored, but went kind of a little, not grungy, but went kind of crystalline. It was messy, went more messy. So it's sort of dark and messy. So now he's either going to brighten it up, and then it'll be bright and messy, like 9 and 10, or it'll be dark but clean, like the last one before this, or he'll flip both of them and it'll be bright and clean, like 11's first new TARDIS. So I doubt we're going to get dark and messy again. We're going to get something where they flip either of those sort of things.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's the last thing I wanted to talk about, was the TARDIS getting sick. Is there anything else before I wrap this up?
Thinking. What was with that dude? He didn't have a costume, and he better not egg his house.
Oh yeah, everybody has one of those in the neighborhood.
It's like,
Pretty sure
trick or treat, now get out of here.
You better not egg my house. And I mean, any gamer could tell the doctor that that's completely normal to have such a sophisticated gaming machine and no food in the house, because they spend all their money on gaming instead. Like, how did this guy, who has nothing, no food, nothing really in his house, afford such a nice laptop?
It isn't his laptop.
You see, I know people who would be like, he's a gamer.
Pretty much.
All right.
I got nothing else.
I have nothing, because that episode.
Okay. Then I shall call that a stream and a review.